Hello, and thanks for joining me. Well, something I haven't done very much of is turn between centers. And I'm getting ready to cut some gears for the South Bend lathe, and I need to be able to turn between centers to make a mandrel to cut the gear on. I've got a center for this. Let me zoom in on this. This taper in here is kind of unknown. And this is a number 2 to number 3 Morris taper. And there's a center for my tailstock. It goes kind of deep in there, but it fits perfect, and that's the exact, with the faceplate on there, that's about how much I need sticking out. So I'm going to try using that. If this doesn't work, I'll make a center for it. But for now, we're going to make a faceplate, a 6-inch faceplate on here, so I can turn between centers and put a dog on it. And okay, as usual, I'm working with some leftover material. That's 1.25 inches, I believe. Yeah, after I finish it off, it'll be 1.25 inches. And this is my faceplate. I'm going to cut a ledge on that, cut a hole in that, weld that in there. But first I'm going to thread this to match my spindle. Right now it's going to be a 6-inch plate, and it's an 8-inch wide plate here. So I'm going to cut a little over 6 inches this way, true the edge on it, and then cut some slots for my dog to hook into. And then I'll drill the hole in the center. This doesn't look too good, does it? This is a 6-inch saw trying to cut a 8-inch plate. Let's see what it does. It may chatter real bad, I don't know. Yeah, not too bad. Wow, that worked pretty good. I made this thing a few years back. It's you can clamp a long piece of metal in it and mill the edge of it. That'll be handy for squaring up this piece of stock. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a longer bolt there. Okay, I've squared off all 4 sides of this in the jig on my mill. And I'm going to pick 2 sides and measure a little less than halfway across. Measure 3 1/4. It'll make it 6 inch. put bluing on here to make my scribes show up a little better. Now I'm going to cut a slot here, a slot here, a slot here, and a slot here. And then I'll bore a hole in the middle of it and weld that right there. So right now I've got my center mark there. Like that. I'm going to come off of this side and this side, I think. 3 1/4. Put an X right here because this is what I'm going to index to from the vise on my mill. That'll be the back jaw of my vise. Now, this is some oddball size. This is 2 3/16. So I need to center that on there and then mark for my slots where I want to stop my slots. So half of 2 3/16 is half plus 1 3/32. Actually, what I'm going to do, I've got a compass here. With a scribe on it, and I'm going to scribe a 6-inch circle. This is not for actual size, it's just for a reference. That'll be inset into there and then welded. So the next step is to cut 1/2-inch slots right here, like that. And I think I'm going to, most of these face plates have a slot that goes all the way through so the dog can sit right at the very edge when you're turning something between centers. My X and X are right here. This will be a back jaw, and I'll rotate it, and this will be the back jaw, and I'll mill my slots. And I'm going to have to move the back jaw on my vise to get 6 inches. This is a 5-inch vise. I think that'll be big enough. Yeah, it'll make it. Got to indicate this back jaw. Uh-oh. My table ran out of travel. Huh. Well, rather than move the vise, I will take something of a known dimension. Okay. Five more plus 100,000. Right there is a 1/2 inch from the edge of my jaw. Three 3 1/4 to the center. So I want to get to 3 1/4, so it'll be 3 1/4 minus a 1/2, 2 3/4. There it is right there. It looks close. Looks like I got it. Did all my math right. Let's see. I want to make sure I leave enough for welding. Yeah, that'll be all right. Okay, 1 down, 3 to go. I'm going to drill that hole in the middle now. The reason I'm drilling the hole first, before I make the piece in the lathe to go on the back of that, is I'm using a hole saw to cut it, and the hole saw dimension is not exact. It'll be round, but it won't be exact, true to dimension, so I'll be able to turn that to be a snug or press fit. Doesn't really have to be a press fit, but it would hold it in place better if it was. Okay, now I got to slow it down. I don't know what RPM is appropriate for a hole saw, but it has to be slow. Here we go. It always amazes me that a hole saw can cut through 1/2 inch steel. Actually, it's 3/8, but whatever. It's pretty amazing. Pretty slow RPM for that center drill, but as soon as that outer perimeter starts drilling, it'll be about right. Okay, let's make some noise. I think we're almost through, but I'm going to take a vacuum cleaner and clean out that slot. Here we are. I'm just going to knock the corners off of here. It'll make it easier to true up on the lathe. That'll make it clean up a lot easier on the lathe. Well, there we are, all roughed out. Looks kind of wobbly, but it'll true up nice on the lathe. Now I've got to face off one side of this and turn it down to fit in there and drill it and thread the inside. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is make that undercut to fit this thing. According to my math, I got to go 75 thousandths off of there. Okay, there's my 1-inch hole. I'm going to have to use a boring bar to get the rest. That's as big as my drills go. Okay, the threads on this lathe are an oddball thread. They're 1 5/8". So that equates to 1.5 inches according to what I've read on internal diameter for cutting 1 5/8" threads. And I'm going to go a little bit smaller. It's easy to go bigger when you're cutting threads, but it's pretty hard to add metal. So I'm just going to go a little under 1.5 inches. Right now I should be about 1 inch. Right at 150. I didn't really want to go quite that big, but that's all right. Okay, for internal threads, the compound needs to be set at 29.5, but it needs to be set this way. On internal threads, if you want to use a straight edge to make sure you're on center, just go to the back side like this. Looks pretty good. I think it needs to drop down just a hair. Now I need to set this thing up for 8 threads per inch. We're ready to cut threads. I'm going to start on one large mark. They're even number threads, so I can throw it in on any of those marks. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to throw it in on the large marks. I don't think these are anywhere near deep enough, but I'm going to try them. Wow, pretty darn close. Give it one more pass, I think. Beautiful. We're good. Now right here is an unthreaded part of the spindle. So I got to undercut these threads 1/4 inch. Probably should have done that in the first place before I cut the threads. I need to make them 1 5/8 inches. Well, that's about it. Take it out of there and weld it in. I did that backwards. I was supposed to cut that relief right there. Can we rescue it? Can't believe I did that. That's the side that goes against the chuck. For what it is, it should be okay. Got my carriage stop for 1/4 inch. Make sure I don't totally screw this up and go too far here. Before I press that in there, I'm thinking about cutting a little bevel on that edge, because I got a 110 MIG and that's not going to be enough surface area to get a good weld. So I'm going to cut a little bevel on that. I like it. I don't like that undercut I made there, but otherwise I like it. Let's put it in the lathe, see if it runs true. Wobbles this way, but it's perfect this way. Good deal. Now welding that without it warping will be a trick. But even if it warps a little bit, I can take a tool and surface it and straighten it out. Be nice if that was motorized, but for a one-off, I think it'll work. Yeah, let's see how true it runs. I would say that's within about 2 to 3 thousandths. That's not too bad. Well, that's it. Yep. Now all we got to do is surface it. I think what I'm going to do is remove the weld in the middle first. Yeah, I'd like to get the back edge of that. Got a nice chamfer on it anyway. There we go, finished faceplate. I think that's about ideal. I need to find my other center now. Well, I found a live center. I had another dead center around here somewhere, but I can't find it. Anyway, let's see how this works. I don't have any dogs yet. I may have to make some dogs. There we go. Cool. I like it. Of course, it's not gonna, I can't use it like that. I gotta come up with some dogs. Anyway, that about wraps it up. And thanks for joining me, and be sure and subscribe. Ring that bell too.